During the holiday season, somebody used the term grifter in one of our gatherings. It made me chuckle because it reminded me that this is a term that is periodically hurled at me by leftists. Oh, Dinesh, you're such a grifter. You know, you were a nobody before Trump, and you're just spreading lies, and you're such a con man, and you're trying to make money off of the Trumpsters. And I thought it might be fun to kind of address this allegation head on. First of all, most of my career success was achieved quite early. It has nothing to do with Trump. My first book, Illiberal Education, published in 1991, 15 weeks on the New York Times bestseller list. And I was then about 30 years old. I began my career as a speaker right about the same time. My movie on Obama came out in 2012, made $33 million in the theater. That's only in the theater. That doesn't count DVD and other forms of sales. And that was 4 years before Trump got elected. It enabled me to make my subsequent films. So I've had a dozen or so New York Times bestsellers, 3 number one books, number one on the New York Times list, and all of that before Trump. So this idea that somehow I am benefiting from Trump, the opposite is the case. The truth of it is, if I had been on the left, if I had defected left, like the so-called never-Trumpers, I mean, those are people who have achieved nothing. Those are people who have been writing the same op-eds for 30 years. Those are people whose books sell like 300 copies, usually to family members. And those are people who realize there are liberal billionaires willing to write big checks, and so they've defected to the left. It's much easier on the left. You know, if I were Michael Moore, making a movie would be really easy. First of all, I go to a studio, they give me $10 million, I make the movie, the next day I'm booked on the Bill Maher show and The View the following day and on Meet the Press. So it's all done for you. Whereas on the conservative side, you have to do it all. Do the legal documents, do the business plan, find the investors, raise the money, make the movie, market it pretty much on your own. So the bottom line of it is grifting doesn't really work on the conservative side unless you're some sort of a never-Trumper. But here's why I like Trump. And people go, oh, Trump, you like Trump because he pardoned you. Well, not really. It was more the way he did it. Trump, in effect, said to me, I knew there was an injustice in your case. It was all, in his words, bullshit. And I realized, wow, here's a guy who sees an injustice and he's ready to correct it. He's in a position to do it, and he's going to do it. No focus groups, no strategic meetings. Justice for him is not a matter of strategy. It's a matter of basic human decency. And my affection for Trump is partly based on this direct experience of him and recognizing that at the end of the day, he's a fundamentally good and decent guy.
Could you ever conceive of going to Italy, Tom? Persuade my son to come home? I'd pay you $1,000.
I have always wanted to go to Europe, sir, but...
Good. Now you can go for a reason.